that's why the only country that said we'll step up is North Korea. Russia didn't say they're going to step up. North Korea said that they're going to help Iran. So what's clear to me is Iran is on their own. North Korea was helping Russia and Ukraine. So I feel like the last country that they could fall on is North Korea. And they would have to pay out of their own pocket for that, I believe. So, from my own opinion...
Yeah, from the North Korean side in Kursk in Russia, it was very, inconsistent, shall we say. They denied it for months, and then eventually when you had piles of North Korean bodies being emerged, and then also when the Russians retook Kursk, much of Kursk, it was finally revealed that they did. I do wonder how much the North Koreans would get involved, as much of their industrial capacities are really supporting the Russians. And then obviously there's the distance, proximity thing. It's quite easy for North Korea to deliver to Russia because it's just over the Russian airspace. But here you've got to go through other countries, and there's a bit of a more complicated, delivery path. So
I think Iran's biggest mistake is that they started too many war fronts, and they wanted to support too many of their proxy groups without wanting to take any responsibilities for it. And, they couldn't look forward to seeing that one day that all their proxies group could be dismantled and they would be the last person standing, and that's where we're left at, checkmate. So I think Iran is going to be looking at the end of its life here pretty soon, and maybe for a new regime. At least that's what both countries are hoping for.
Yeah, interesting though, the reports earlier saying that they're going to condemn the events, actions by Israel. So,
they say that probably by the time.
Conversation.
Yes. They've been having a very close relationship with Israel behind closed doors. They always say that we condemn the actions of Israel, but then behind closed door, they're having cheers and they're drinking glasses of champagne. Let's
non-alcoholic champagne. Non-alcoholic champagne.
Non-alcoholic champagne.
When the Formula One's in town, isn't it? But boy, if you wanted to jump in, or James, I saw your hand up as well. You got any news?
Nothing on my end. Yeah.
So just can you always maybe do a summary again for us? So sort of the Israelis were launching a subsequent round of strikes on certain targets, right? How long did that last? What was the fallout from that in the past, hour and a half?
Oh my God, you really tackled me. It's hard to get that from from the back of my head here. But yeah, there were 2 waves of attacks. About 200 Israeli fighter jets were participating in each and every one of them. Of course, the first one was hitting the chain of command, which had the entire Air Force leadership meeting in one place. This is something that has to do with the Mossad. There was a lot of intelligence work happening on the ground to get them all to be in the same room and then to conduct this target. Then you had, of course, a lot of attacks on you had the Iranian Tehran International Airport, you had Natanz, you had Perchin. You had, I really cannot pull them out of my head, computer. I need to look at what got hit.
It's all right, don't worry. I know I put you on the spot there. It was more just generally what we've seen, which was 2 rounds, and now we're waiting effectively for the Iranians to respond. Is that sort of the
Yeah, we're waiting for them to respond, and we are. You see that we are prepared for it. This is a little bit less talked about, but also the Israeli Air Force is operating on the Iraqi-Syria border, also to prevent from the Iraqi Shia militias to somehow participate, because like James was mentioning earlier, Hezbollah is off the menu at this point, so they're not going to participate, at least not according to what it looks like. So the IAF is also operating there. Of course, there are extra batteries of David Sling, Arrow 1, Arrow 3 air defense system, and also there are tailored warning of the home front command as well that is also alerting regarding the areas of living. And we constantly get reports about launches of drones, couple of here, couple of there, that are approaching Israel, but none of them really penetrated the Israeli airspace. So this is why it's not big headlines with everything that is happening right now. And I think, this is what is happening right now, basically. A little bit of nuclear component facilities, ballistic missiles, launchers. And I think the most interesting thing is that in the initial wave, and I think this is what people should really focus on right now, the Mossad was able to establish for months now launching pads from trucks within Iran, that those drones, those Israeli drones, were actually attacking the air defense systems first before we even saw the big air company. And I think this is what's the most interesting part in this entire action. It's not just the Air Force, it's what the Mossad have managed to establish on the ground as well.
True, indeed. I think it goes back to what I was saying about the Ukrainians and the Israelis sort of, I don't know if they're directly learning from each other, so to speak, but it's,
They do.
Yeah, they do? Yeah, I thought so. But no, I mean, running with your theme of sort of on the menu, I mean, Iran's reeling yet again, and the Israelis are largely, feasting there. They're eating away at assets that the Islamic Republic have or had, and well, they just don't. If they're going to shoot a bunch of ballistic missiles, it seems a little bit underwhelming. Obviously, trying to jinx anything, but
it's only enough that fuel will go through. Only fuel can come through and make a really big damage if they hit our target.
Absolutely. No, I know. I'm not trying to play that down. It's just for all the talk that they make all the time, rhetoric. It's underwhelming in the face of things. But James, you had your hand up. I'm sure you want to make some points.
Yeah, I want to make a point about the region. So right now in the situation we are in at the region, the escalations around the region, Iran's position is they want to be the strongest person north of in the North Levant. That's their position. You have Saudi Arabia was getting more and more control in the peninsula and in North Africa, and now you need Iran needed to be positioned as a strong person in the northern part of the Levant. The issue that happened is that when the opportunity was at its best, let's say military-wise, I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm saying military-wise, October 7th, the Promised 1 attack, the Promised 2 attack, when those attacks happened, we didn't see a mobilization of the entire axis around the attack. And today, that's what's happening to Iran. Iran is on its own because of the military and strategical mistakes that they did. When you attack and you want to go attack an enemy, the person you consider an enemy that's much stronger than you, and you have all those capabilities, you have the ability to go by foot from the north and from groups that are on the territory itself, so bordering the territory. You can throw rockets, you can throw ballistic missiles from afar in order to overwhelm the capability of the defenses of the enemy, and then shoot bigger rockets with the ballistic missiles into the territory. You could have overwhelmed the situation enough in order to reach this position. What we've discovered, what we found out, is that it's paper tiger. Like the entire axis in itself have failed. It crumbled every time a decision was taken to attack a certain group from that axis. The same thing happened. Within the first 48 hours to 72 hours, the Tier 1 leadership is gone.
So James, okay, that's always his choice of words. Trump says Israel strikes on Iran might actually boost chances for a nuclear agreement. I don't think so, quote. Maybe the opposite. Maybe now they will negotiate seriously. He still believes a deal is possible. They were close. They should have done it. Maybe now it will happen. Meanwhile, Israel admits the bombing won't fully stop Iran's nukes, but hopes it sets the stage for a US-led deal. So strike first, negotiate
I
later.
generally don't want a deal to happen. I generally don't want a deal to happen. No one from the 12 countries want a deal to happen.
Yeah, everyone wants the deal to happen. Like, everyone wants to reach a position where Iran is abiding by a certain set of understanding and rules that they work on. But what happened is that no one could control what Iran was going to do. That's what happened before. With the damage that's being imposed and the destruction of all its militias forces in the region, and all the effort, all the IRGC external wings and the IRGC in Afghanistan 2.2, where Israelis or even American or French or UK people are controlling the land inside of Iran. Iran will get out of this through the deal. There is no possibility. The question is, how much destruction will they accept to take until they reach a deal? Are they?
James, can I just jump in with something from the IDF? This is a statement from the IDF. The IDF attacked the nuclear site in the Isfahan region. At this moment, Air Force fighters just completed an attack on the Iranian regime nuclear site in the Isfahan area under precise attempt.
Did it just go out? Or did it crash?
Were you, surprised that Israel, because I think it's important to highlight, we have Israeli drones flying over, for example, we have video of it, of Israeli drones flying over to Greece. I mean, these aren't stealth drones. Let's make it clear. These are not stealth drones. These are just normal drones like RM-29s that get shot down by the Houthis, right? That's why they're there. But they're freely operating over Iran. We have not seen a single image, video report of Iranian being able to shoot down any Israeli air assets. The irony is the Houthis are having more success against American drones than the Iranians against Israeli drones. And again, these aren't some secret drones. I mean, what does that tell you? And what does that highlight? Was it, maybe the strike because one of the key targets was the command structure of the Iranian Air Defense Unit, the KHATC. Did that have an effect? Maybe it was Iranian air defense just more powerful? People talked about it, I guess, was more powerful than it really was. I mean, what does that tell you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder a couple different things as we look at it.